We're back here for the Twin Cities Film Fest red carpet. I'm Blythe Whaley alongside Cory Hopela. And Cory, you're the writer and director of My Town Part 2. Thanks so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. What an honor to be here at Twin Cities Film Fest, which is really the change maker event in the upper Midwest. So just awesome to be a part of.
You're so kind. And your series is also a change maker for people who get to watch it. Cory, can you talk us through a little bit of the overview to get people up to speed?
Yeah, so I'm here. I'm the director and writer of My Town. And My Town is a 7-part documentary series on the rural lifestyle, really. I think when people have these misconceptions about what it's like to live in a rural town, and so what we set out to do was really to show that there are opportunities out there, that there's innovation happening out there, that there's a connectedness out there in our rural communities, and really show a lot of the positives that are happening out there.
Yeah. Did anything surprise you when you were going through this process?
You know, I wouldn't say surprise. Well, look, I mean, there's plenty of surprises along the way. It's a documentary series, and like I have all these crazy, wild things happen, but nothing really surprised me in that. So I grew up in a small town. Yeah. I grew up in a town of about 3,000 people in western Minnesota, in Perham. And I love where I grew up. And this is really the premise of the story. I love where I grew up, but at 18, I was ready to leave. I had these big dreams about going to the big city, chasing my dreams. I wanted to be a news anchor in Minneapolis. I told my parents at 8 that's exactly what I was going to do. And
you knew, yeah.
I knew, I mean, it was difficult. Like, it was a long journey to get here. 15 years of climbing the ladder, slowly climbing the ladder, and I got here. Yeah. But then as I turned 40, I have a wife, 3 young kids. I'm starting to look at where I grew up through a different lens and having a different perspective. Now that all kind of coincides with what I would call is the misconceptions about the rural lifestyle. You hear a lot of negatives about rural America all the time. It's, those towns are dying, there's nothing there for you, nothing comes from there, nothing, and that's just not correct. Yeah. And so I just, I kind of had this idea of, why don't we go out there and we truly explore what is happening out there in our rural towns, because there is a lot good that is happening out there.
Yeah. And of course you touched on it. You have been on the radio, you've anchored. What's different about this process that you love?
I love the authenticity and the honesty of it. This for me is very purposeful. So it's something that, and I guess when you look at it too, just from a construction side of it, with TV and radio, you're doing something every day, right? And you're reporting on the news, and you're reporting on what's happening. And I love that. I did. And that's a part of what I'm doing here. But this is a year-long process. We started meeting with the communities a year ago and talking about, well, what's unique about your communities? What's unique about this? And what makes you distinct? And so we started working on this about a year ago. So to go through this whole process and now to be able to show it to everybody is an honor.
Yeah. And Cory, can you touch on which places you actually went to here in part 2?
Yeah, so we have My Town is 7 episodes. Make sure you stream on My Town series on YouTube and Facebook. But we go.
Of course, we are. Right, everyone is. Yes.
But we go to 7 different towns. So we go to 4 in Minnesota, and that's part 2 tonight. We're showing all 4 Minnesota communities tonight. That's Perham, that's Wilmer, that's Farmington, and that's Chisholm, Minnesota. So those are the 4 tonight. The other 3 would be Rugby, North Dakota, Iowa Lakes Corridor in Iowa, and then Beaver Dam, Wisconsin.
That's part 1 you're talking about there?
Which was Saturday.
Yeah. And you mentioned it to me before we hopped on here that your family is here, and they're going to get to hop into the theater and see this with you. What does that mean to you to have that support?
I mean, I won the lottery. I won the lottery, the 2 best parents in the world who were so supportive of every little, right? Nobody, where I'm from, nobody had really done that. And I said, no, I'm going to, I really want to do this. And they supported, and supported. And I was fortunate enough to find a wife who was, just as supportive as them. And so to be surrounded by loved ones, that's how, when you surround yourself with good people, you're able to do good things because of that support. So, and I have 3 kids running around here somewhere too that are 9 and 8, and I think they think it's all right too what we're doing.
Yeah. Last question really quick. We don't have a lot of time, but I want to ask you about maybe that big moment, that learning moment that you had throughout this process, anything stick with you as you take it back to your day-to-day life?
You know, this series has been has been life-changing for me. So I don't know if there was an exact moment, but it hit me pretty early on that these communities don't have an advocate. They don't have somebody that on their behalf will stand up and say, like, no, actually this is really cool. These are what you have here. You have what everyone is searching for. And so pretty early on, I kind of recognized that after meeting with the different communities, and I felt a real responsibility to be able to tell these stories authentically and honestly, and to help these communities reach the largest audience. And so, you know, I have from day one have been praying for wisdom and clarity, and just for positive communication, so that we're able to be able to find the audience, because these communities deserve to have their stories told and to have these authentic stories told.
Yeah, and that is just a perfect word. I can tell you are so authentic from talking to you. Thank you so much for being here on our red carpet. Cory Hopela, My Town Part 2. He mentioned it. Stream it, everyone. We'll be back here on the red carpet with more awesome filmmakers like Cory.